Welcome to the channel, everyone. In this video, I'm going to talk about removing vinyl. Now, it could be pinstriping, it could be decals, lettering, and it doesn't matter if it's on a boat, an RV, a car, a truck, it's all pretty much the same. So we have two options we can use to remove it. First one is a heat gun, and you don't have to have an expensive one. You can use a good hair dryer, that'll work. We're going to try and warm up the vinyl, start peeling on it and get it to release without breaking off too much or stretching and causing problems. One of the issues we'll have is the glue that's left behind, so we have to clean up the glue residue. The other option is an eraser wheel, and these work pretty good, but there's some things you have to watch out for with these, so I'll show that. These will remove stuff pretty quick. It'll take the vinyl, it'll take the adhesive, so we're going to get into both of these and show the pros and cons. Now I'm going to start with the heat gun first, and to get the vinyl to start separating, we need to get behind it to peel it. So what I'm going to use is a razor blade scraper here. Let me show you what I do with mine beforehand. Okay, my number one rule for using a razor blade scraper on a car is never use a brand new razor blade. They're way too sharp, they'll gouge into the paint. So what I do, I always have one in here. Sometimes they'll be in here for months. And I'll start with a nice wide flat file, lay it on the bench. I'll just slide that razor blade over the file, and if there's any burrs or nicks in it, it'll take them down, and it doesn't make it too sharp where it's going to gouge in. Flip it over, make sure the other side is good. It'll be plenty sharp enough to start the vinyl peeling without gouging into your finish. And you can still cut yourself pretty good with it, so be careful, but it's not super sharp like a brand new one out of a package. All right, this is what we're working on today. This is an RV, Clark. So this belongs to my wife and I. This fifth wheel's an 04, and the vinyl's actually held up pretty good for its age. It always is kept inside. It's held up a lot better than other vinyl I've seen on different manufacturers. First thing I did, I washed this down with Simple Green, get most of the dirt and stuff off. Once the vinyl is off, I'll have to buff this out, get all the bugs off so it's nice and clean. We've got plans to do something else with the front, so that'll be later. Now you don't want to get it too hot. Take your time, warm it up, and then we'll start peeling on it and see how it releases. Then we'll know if we've got enough heat on it or if we need a little more. You should heat it up so it'd be about the equivalent of if it was sitting out in the sun. You should be able to put your hands on it. Anytime you're using a razor blade scraper, don't gouge it straight in. You want to slide it in like I'm doing here. Just slide it in there and work it up. Actually, on these letters, once I get it started, it seems like it's working just as good without really any heat on it, and more of the lettering is coming off intact. It's pulling the back side of this vinyl off at the same time instead of leaving it. It's almost like another layer. It is the adhesive, but I never had it separate, almost like it's laminated. I'm going to try something else here. I'm going to squirt it down with some Windex. That'll be a lubricant. And just see what happens if I try and do this with the razor blade as opposed to trying to heat it up and pull it off. It takes a little longer, I think, to do it this way to get the vinyl off, but I might not have as much cleanup on the residue, so it's probably going to work out about the same either way. All right, still some residue, or quite a bit of residue left here. That's going to take a little bit of work to remove, but the rest of it, when I just started peeling it without any heat or very little heat, seems to work about the best. So. All right, the vinyl on this lower decal seems to be more like a traditional vinyl. It doesn't have that separate layer on the back. It's the same color on both sides. Once I got it started with little heat, it's pulling off not too bad. Yeah, the heat helps. You have to watch so you don't overheat it and stretch the vinyl. You want to warm it up enough to get the glue to release. All right, now that's how vinyl's supposed to come off. You want to put the heat in front of it, just warm it up. You don't want to put any heat on this. That'll cause it to stretch and tear. Then you've got to get another edge started. But keep it warmed up in front of it. Pull on it steady and slow and try and keep the pressure even as much as you can. It'll make it come off a lot easier. The next tool I'm going to talk about is an eraser wheel. Now this is like a gum eraser, it's pretty soft, and they do make several different kinds of eraser wheels, some of them a little bit harder. This type here is what I've had the best luck on, so I've always stuck with them. But one thing you have to be careful with these, you got to keep this thing moving. You can't stop in one spot. You'll actually leave some little divots in the clear coat or the gel coat. Now even though there's no adhesive or residue from vinyl on this fender, I'm going to run it on this paint. And I'm going to run it kind of slow and keep it in one spot and see if it does scallop in. But I've seen where guys would take off pinstriping, the vinyl pinstriping, and hold it too long in one place, and when you get done, you can see all these little indentations from this wheel. So I'm going to Actually, this finish held up real good. I don't see any marks from the wheel. It could be the type of paint the manufacturer is using, but it's something just to be watchful of. Don't hold the wheel too long in one spot. Just keep it moving. All right, and this eraser wheel tool here, it's like a slow speed die grinder, but it's specifically made for these wheels. You don't want to chuck one of these eraser wheels up in a regular die grinder, way too fast. Next step, I'm going to wash the front of this RV with Simple Green, get everything cleaned up. Then I'm going to try some Goo Gone or Goof Off on it. Usually I'd use a Prep-Sol, but it's such a big area, I'm going to try a better, a safer alternative and see how that works. Let it soak for about 5 minutes, and it seems to come off pretty good. A little more environmental friendly. And this is actually a tool for putting on vinyl. And it works a little better than the plastic, there goes my Goo Gone, is the razor blade. That stuff is nice and oily, so it's a good lubricant. That works real nice. Gets all those stubborn pieces off of there. Just make sure you prep that razor blade like I showed. This just slides over, just silky smooth, takes everything off. All right, for removing a big piece of vinyl, the heat gun seems to work better. You can take it off in a bigger sheet. The eraser wheel works good too, but it's usually more for pinstripes and residue left over from emblems and moldings and that. Multiple tools, multiple techniques, but try the razor blade trick too with that, but make sure you follow my instructions on how to prep that first. If you like this video, let me know, send me a comment, give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button too. Thanks for watching.